Hey guys, Mark here. I just want to give a quick heads up. I don't know why we keep doing this, but we keep forgetting to promote David Cross's podcast whenever he's on the show. So make sure to listen to the Award Wieners Movie Review podcast. It is a lot of fun. They talk about movies that have won Best Picture Academy Awards, and they combine them with hot dog recipes, Oscar Mayer hot dog recipes. It's a lot of fun, a lot of research, super informative, and it'll make you hungry. So after this podcast, go check out the Award Wieners Movie Review podcast. Thanks. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who would be really angry if his whiskey got turned into blood. It's David Cross.
Oh, I love whiskey and I hate blood.
All right, so this mummy's out. He's summoning locusts. He's summoning sand. He's boils and all that. But if I woke up one day and my whiskey collection somehow magically was turned into blood, I would be very angry at this mummy.
Yeah, I think that's why everyone went after him.
I would
They
consider.
didn't want to save their own lives.
I would team up with Evie and Rick and all them to battle the mummy, because I have very good whiskey in my collection, and I don't understand how that happened, because listen, we love this movie. How did the whiskey they were drinking get turned into blood?
Magic?
Yeah, I mean, that's the end. I mean, obviously it did, right? So it's not just the water. So yeah, just everything turned. That's crazy. That's power right there.
But it could have been the water in the whiskey was turned to blood, which is a joke that the liquor was watered down.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You just solved it. You just solved it.
I solved it.
Oh my gosh. I can rest easy.
Yeah.
I can
But
now.
I had that
Wow.
same question, Mark. I was watching it and I go, well, how did that turn to blood? And then I went down this rabbit hole. I was like, all the other things that had water in it would also be turned to blood. And I was like, they should have had a bath scene where like someone soaking in water that turned to blood. You know?
Because, I mean, movies love baths. Like horror movies, this isn't really a horror movie, but horror movies do love baths. Teeth, Nightmare on Elm Street, A Quiet Place. A lot of bathtubs in cinema. Slither. This would have fit right in.
Can't have a horror movie without a bathtub.
Now, I have some very good news for you, and I think you're going to have to run around your block for a little while after I tell you this news. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it. Okay.
The Mummy, 1999, directed by Stephen Sommers, now has a 60% tomato meter score, which means it is fresh. So for
Yes!
21 years, so whenever the tomato meter was created, it's been rotten. Now, it's not certified fresh, but like Deep Blue Sea, which is at 60% now, both of these films are fresh. There's no longer a splat next to their names.
You know what kind of blows my mind?
What?
I never realized it was rotten.
So we did a tournament on movies, films, and flicks, and it was rotten movies of the 1990s, and each person picked 5 rotten movies, and we had 32 people enter the tournament. It was a lot of fun. I
came in second.
Oh, yeah, you did. I had the Mummy on my team. I had the Mummy, and I lost, and I don't get it, because I love the Mummy, and I don't even know how the Mummy is rotten. I don't see what there is about it that could be. Maybe you could treat it as slight material, but it's a fun yarn. Maybe people were grumpy when they watched it and wrote the reviews, but I don't understand how this is a quote unquote rotten film. Do you?
No, not at all. I think it's a very loving homage to Indiana Jones.
And we were discussing this probably a couple weeks ago about how we're going to talk about this movie, because I think there's a problem when two people who we love this movie, and I have a history with this movie. So I listened to the Everything Wrong with It in 21 minutes, and he pointed out some things in the movie that are legit flaws. So the Magi, right? The Ardith Bay, they are not good at their job. They are very bad at their job. This is a curse that could kill humanity. And they're like, yeah, you can stay for 24 minutes, like a few more minutes. Like, here's this book. Like
Here's my response
you know what I mean?
to that.
Are they good at their job?
I would say that if you kept the mummy, not the mummy, actually, what are we going to call him? Because he's not a mummy.
Let's just call him the mummy.
The mummy, okay, we'll get to this later, but he's not a mummy, but Imhotep. They kept Imhotep secret for 3,000 years. They defeated a regiment of French Legion. I would argue that they're actually pretty good at their job. The problem is that they can only mess up once.
Well, all right. Jeez Louise, man, you just keep shooting holes through all my nitpicks here, because I really don't have any. So you just...
What nitpicks? Yeah, There's no nitpicks in this movie. This movie's perfect.
I just got defensive over my whiskey, and then... I mean, these guys got a bum job, too. They just sit out in the desert waiting for people to go to Hamunaptra. That's a pain in the butt job. And I also feel bad for Hook, who is killed on the boat when they attack to get the book. So these are good guys. Yes, they murder people, but they're trying to prevent the world from ending. I get it. Hook was doing his job. And a funny thing mentioned on the commentary, Stephen Sommers mentioned this, that he gets lit on fire. And 2 minutes later, he's still on the boat running around on fire. So for 2 minutes, this is a tough man who's running around on fire for 2 minutes, and he chases Jonathan before getting shot and killed. What was Hook doing whilst on fire for those 2 minutes? He could have jumped in the water.
He was trying to put himself out.
He should have jumped in the water.
But he was committed, Mark.
But
he was committed to saving the world.
Is he committed? Like, what about living and fighting another day? Listen, you and I are the bosses, right? We've been doing this. We've been at it for years. I mean, Hook has already lost a hand I presume, right? He's lost a hand doing his job somewhere. So the guy's committed. He gets lit on fire. And we're like, hey, how come you didn't stay on the boat? I was on fire. Fair enough. You get a pass on this one. Would we punish him for that?
No. I wouldn't.
I feel like, Ardith Bay, he's a great action hero too, and they were going to kill him off, and they brought him back for the sequel because they like him so much. But he's a good boss. I think he would have been like, Hook, I get it. You were on fire for 2 minutes. Like, take a break. Relax. You're going to need gauze.
We need veterans.
Yeah. We'll talk to you in 6 months when you're able to get out of the full body cast because of the fire. Like, we get it, right? I just feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him too. I think there is something to say that logically they're maybe not great, but they don't want to kill people. They're honorable. It's like, all right, Rick escapes at the beginning and wanders into the desert. They're like, he made it out. Let him go.
Yeah. Now they are killing people, but those people could in turn destroy the world. So nowadays we couldn't have this movie because they'd be like, well, we can't kill you can't kill 6 people to save 7 billion. The world doesn't work like that. Like, these guys don't care about that. They want to save 6 billion by killing 3,032.
Yeah. I have a thought experiment, Mark.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
The police are coming to get me for it as well. Do you think we are following arguably the villains of this movie?
Okay, so that's a very good point, because Brendan Fraser and Evie and Jonathan, they are repeatedly told, don't go there. Now, Evie has a bone to pick, right? To her credit, she does not believe that a 3,000-year-old mummy was with the pharaoh's wife, and he was tortured so horribly that if he came back, he would destroy the world. Now, I'm thinking it is the pharaoh's guards and the pharaoh's... Well, no, the pharaoh was killed. I'm thinking it was the pharaoh's personal guard who are at fault. Because why didn't they just torture him for like a year and then kill him? Why give him a curse and then keep everything in one spot and not split it up? You know what I mean? They're basically...
I do. I think I might have an explanation for this, because I have the same idea. And the problem with this film, as we understand it, is that if you bring this thing back to life, this mummy back to life, he becomes essentially all powerful. So why hasn't someone else just killed themselves and brought themselves back to life to take over the world? That's my thinking behind it. From what I understand, and from what Reddit tells me, which you can't always trust Reddit, is that this has to do with Egyptian religion and afterlife, and that essentially the afterlife was viewed as so important that they didn't want to give the mummy the opportunity to be judged as doing well in life and getting a good afterlife. So they kept him from the afterlife.
Wow.
Yeah, which is totally lost. And I think that's a perfect question to ask, because I went down a rabbit hole trying to read about this, and I'm like, oh God, I got an hour to read about Egyptian religions.
Now, they never say that in the film, but that's a pretty good, that makes sense to me. I heard that, I'm like, yeah, I get it. That's cool.
Yeah. But because I had that same question multiple times. Even when I first saw this movie in 1999, I was like, this seems like a pretty bad idea.
So how old were you in 99 when this movie came out?
Oh, God. 16?
Oh, my gosh. So what'd you think? You as a 16-year-old, what did you think?
I saw this in the drive-in theater.
Yes.
I lost my mind. I loved this movie. Are you kidding me? I loved it.
Yeah, so
99 was a good year.
Oh, such a great. I started working in a theater in 99. I was 17 when I saw this movie, and this is one of the first movies I got to watch for free, just so because I started working in the theater, and they just went, yeah, you can go watch movies whenever you want for free. And I was like, are you serious? So it was I went and watched Election immediately, and then I watched The Mummy. And then for some reason, since it was such a massive blockbuster, I mean, if you look at the inflated numbers on this film, it's 300 million plus, just domestically. So it came back into theaters, and I went and watched it twice more because I loved the massive sand wave that came at them. I thought I liked Brendan Fraser a lot in the 90s. I thought his repartee with Evie or Rachel Weisz, I love those two characters. I thought Rachel Weisz was great. She was sort of she was a bookish character, but she also got dirty, and she wanted to, so she's the one that wanted to stay and defeat him. She's the one that, the stuff goes through her, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I dug that. I mean, also
everyone has an ability that's utilized.
No, I want to, not from I'm a 37-year-old married man, so I'm not, but as a 15, 16-year-old kid, that Patricia Vasquez in her 10 seconds of screen time had that was in the trailer heavily. So, that's some of the most influential 10, 15 seconds of screen time in a movie, would you say? With her bodysuit, the paint. Stephen Sommers said when she walked in, every screening they did, when she walked into the theater, there was a round of applause. For some reason, that shot, I hate using that word iconic, but that in 99, if you saw a movie trailer, you probably thought she had a bigger role. But we did a podcast about 60-second characters, our favorite, who made a big impact, and I would say she would fit in that category.
100%. Absolutely agree. And I think that is what caused her to be brought back in the sequel.
Did you hear so on the director's commentary, did you listen to that?
I did not. I want you to tell me about it. I'm actually kind of excited for this.
So it's pretty cool. So Stephen Sommers said that he's like, yeah, we're gonna bring her back for the sequel. They hadn't even, I don't even think they had filmed it yet, and they just said, yeah, she's coming back. So Stephen Sommers loved her in that movie, and her and Vosloo, they knew they had minimal screen time together, so they got together and they worked on a few things that would give their relationship. Because I listened to all 3 commentaries on this Blu-ray.
Oh my god!
They worked on, but we've been planning this for a month, 2 months, something like that. So it's been good. They worked on some, when he brushes his hand over her face, they just came up with that. And he does that later on in the movie. So I thought that was pretty neat. So yeah, she was just in there for a little bit, and Stephen Sommers just straight up said, yeah, I'm bringing her back. Also, I learned that, so guess how long it took for the opening CGI, guess how long that took to make?
Oh god, that's so hard, because we're talking about 1999 years.
So Industrial Lights and Magic. So, and then also Bob Duke Say was on it, and he was awesome. On the commentary, he's the editor.
9 months.
2 years.
What?
Yeah, and so I love listening to these, so Event Horizon, this, Deep Blue Sea. I love listening to the commentaries for films around this time, because Driven with Rennie Harlan, they're talking about how long each shot took 20-some years ago. And I love, 2 years, man, for that opening shot. 2 years.
You could have just painted a matte background in like a week and done it.
Exactly. I mean, but like I love on Grosse Point Blank, 10 years, man. So it's like 2 years. And I also learned that Stephen Sommers hates extras, and it made me laugh because he just kept pointing out all the extras he disliked. And there's some extras they disliked so much they would put flies in front of their face because they would keep looking at the camera, or they would darken out their eyes, which cost them a ton of money. And he just kept complaining. And then the editor, I guess, he had to work around it. You know, that torture scene in the beginning when they were torturing Imhotep and all of his priests, the extras couldn't hit their marks. Now, it's a tough job. I mean, you're not an actor, and you're asked to act. So if you've never done it before and you're told to hit marks, it's tough. You're nervous. You're on a massive set. But I've also worked with thousands of extras, and I was kind of getting flashbacks to Stephen Sommers yelling about them because you get extras who don't move their hands when they walk. They pantomime like they're a fish underwater. You know, fish kind of go blop, blop. Like that's how they talk when they're pantomiming. They push each other down to get in front of the camera. They always fight for camera space. So yeah, that brought back some things. But if you watch the movie, you'll see some extras who have been covered with flies over their face, or their eyes have been blacked out because they kept looking at the camera. So that cost them a lot of extra money.
That's so petty.
And then you know what I love too is back in the day, you know, ILM did this, Industrial Light and Magic. And so what they found out were the editor and Stephen Sommers, Industrial Light and Magic, they give you 5 free frames in the beginning and 5 free frames after the shot. So they would plan to get those 10 free frames per shot. So they'd be like, yeah, this is our shot right here. But then they would get the frames for free. So they would film it. This is what we need. And then they knew Industrial Light and Magic would cover the 5 frames at beginning and end. So they got a ton of free frames from Industrial Light and Magic by taking advantage of their 5 free frames policy.
Good for them.
Isn't that funny though?
Yeah, it is.
So they were like, oh, okay. So we like they planned. They knew how expensive it was. And I guess in the beginning, they had massive fights over the warrior mummy, which I think work.
I read about this.
They work brilliantly. But they had like producers like, you're not doing it. And he's like, I'm doing it. You're not doing it. I'm doing it. They had arguments like there will not be warrior mummies. And then Stephen Sommers won out.
Yeah. But wasn't it supposed to be a giant warrior statue? No, originally?
I never heard him say that. I kept hearing I think he maybe wanted more because I just didn't hear that in the commentary. That's the thing.
Yeah, I read that at the end of the movie, there was supposed to be a giant statue brought back to life, and instead they used mummies because they're easier to create than like a giant CGI statue, Colossus walking around.
And I love the behind-the-scenes footage of Brendan Fraser swinging at nothing. And then, so during Brendan Fraser's commentary, he just kind of makes a lot of chuckles and a lot of little jokes and quips. But he kept making fun of Arnold Vosloo because Arnold Vosloo had to do he wore like jorts around on set, and then he had a Speedo, and then they would put these like back in the day the motion capture wasn't where it was, and so he would have to be on frame acting everything out, and then they would take him out and shoot another plate with him nothing in there. But the scene where they show him the cat and he spins into a whirlwind or in a sandstorm or whatever sand tornado in the room, yeah, Brendan Fraser was just saying that Arnold Vosloo had his hands out. And he was just spinning in a circle. So here is Brendan Fraser watching Arnold Vosloo spin in a circle, and I guess a Speedo, and then they took him out and filmed that scene. That's where 99 technology was.
It's a long day.
Yeah,
so I wanted to circle back to something we were talking on a little bit. So we mentioned that 99 was a really good year for us, probably because we were 16 and 17. One of the things that I have read in the last couple of years is an argument that 1999 is actually the best year for film and that it is better than 1939. And generally, film scholars think that 1939 is the year of like the peak of Hollywood.
Well, because that's what
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. What about Wizard of Oz? When was that year?
1939.
Yeah, okay. So Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz. Oh, yeah, Stagecoach. Yeah, I mean, Wuthering Heights. Angels, oh yeah, gosh. Yeah, I mean, there's some stacked movies here, but, I mean, Stagecoach, Mad Max Fury Road, you know, he drew a lot of inspiration from Stagecoach.
Yeah.
And you can't mess with Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind. But you know, so I don't know if you know this, but I was interviewed for Wired in 2017 by a guy named Brian Raftery, and he just released a book last year about it called Best Movie Year Ever, about the movies of '99, and he did a whole. Yeah, it's a great book. Listen, guys, go buy it. Support the dude. He's awesome. He helped me a lot. Yeah, but he made an argument about all the films of '99 and the way they hit. I mean, Fight Club, Matrix, Blair Witch, Being John Malkovich, Sixth Sense. I mean, Office Space is still around. Phantom Menace, Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut. Like, remember the fervor just around all of these? Iron Giant, dude. I mean,
yeah.
'99 was the year where Notting Hill did 250 million. In '99, Julia Roberts had Notting Hill and Runaway Bride. Those are gigantic films. And Straight Story. I mean, Galaxy Quest? I mean, come on.
Do you know what the highest grossing movie of '99 was? Just so we can compare it to The Mummy, because I didn't even think to look this up. We're going way afield of the script.
Oh, so actually I have, if you guys, well, I guess, yeah, so I got, if you go to, never mind. I've just been doing a lot of research about this. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, they're going to do a summer blockbuster tournament soon. And I did a bunch of the research for it and put the movies together. So if you go there and check it out, you can vote on the best summer blockbusters since '76. But I believe that it is, let me look by year.
I just looked it up.
It's Phantom Menace, correct?
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be. I should have known that just looking at it. It's in Phantom Menace.
It is. Yeah, it's got to be.
The Mummy was the 6th highest grossing movie that year, which blows my mind, first off, because it is a big movie that inspired 2 direct sequels and an entire world of other stuff.
So it influenced. All right, so get this. You have The Mummy, and then you have The Mummy Returns, and then you have a prequel, The Scorpion King, and then you have a prequel, The Scorpion King 2, and then you have another prequel to that, and then you have another prequel, and then that was a success, so they made a sequel. That's how far. Yeah, so with inflation, Phantom Menace pulled in 846 million, which is gigantic. But I think, okay, call me crazy here. That's 846 million. That's very impressive. But for The Mummy, I mean, Brendan Fraser was hot at the time, but Sommers was coming off of Deep Rising. That wasn't necessarily the biggest movie, but for this film to pull 300 million, that's a giant opening for, I guess, what's essentially a remake, but it's not really a remake.
A reinterpretation?
There we go. Reboot?
Yeah.
I mean,
this was yeah.
Oh, go for it.
That was around the time where I felt like this movie came out, and then all the studios were like, oh, you know what? We're going to reinvent, reinterpret, reimagine all of these monster movies, these Universal monster movies. Because there was there was Hollow Man, which we spoke about.
Dracula 2000.
Dracula 2000. Yeah, absolutely. Van Helsing came out a couple years later.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, but there's also like the Robert De Niro stuff and the Bram Stoker one.
Oh,
so there's
yeah, you're right.
And Stoker. So like we were like, as a fan of Universal monsters, of classic monsters, I was living at like peak reinterpretation.
Yeah.
like for like a 5-year period, I was like, I am having the best movie life ever.
And this one, and I guess what this one did that, I mean, Bram Stoker is a marvel of mood and production design.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Dracula 2000, which is basically just Gerard Butler's hair. That's all I remember.
Screaming in space.
Screaming in space. And you have Hollow Man, which is Verhoeven kind of light, not Verhoeven heavy. Ver light, not Ver heavy. But this one, yeah, it took the elements of Boris Karloff, but then it also took Indiana Jones and just smushed them together. And it did it really successfully, I would say. And Brendan Fraser, man, that dude, he's so good in this movie. Yeah. He's huge.
He is huge. He's beefy.
Yeah.
So I would argue that this film really led into the new generation of action adventure movies, because I think here's just a couple of films that I think are associated with this type of stuff. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Lara Croft, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I think National Treasure doesn't exist without this film. I'm trying to think of a couple other ones. G.I. Joe clearly is associated with it because of the director. That's the same director. Mm-hmm. But it's not quite the same feel.
No. Both are big, loud. But this one's more earnest. Mummy's more earnest and old-timey, purposely, I think. And then G.I. Joe is more of an attempt to be modern. So the vibe is different.
Yeah. That's really interesting. How would you rank this series compared to the Pirates of the Caribbean and Lara Croft?
All right, so I gotta be honest. So I remember I've watched the second one a couple times, and well, I don't know if you guys ever get bored. I wrote a cracked article called 5 Poignant Moments in Cheesy Action Films. The only part I really like about Mummy 2 is when Imhotep sees the love of his life, Anck-su-namun, run away from him, and he just throws himself into the equivalent of Egyptian hell. But just the acting he does right then and there. I felt like Mummy 2 was a bit of a rehash of the first one, even though I like Rachel Weisz action hero. And then the third one, I think I have such fond memories of because the Maria Bello casting is weird. But that was really weird. But I saw it in Korea with a bunch of my Korean friends. And so you just have a fun night out in a different country with a bunch of different people. And does that make sense? So that's why I look at it so good. But I would give the Pirates, as far as cultural relevancy, I'd put Pirates ahead of it and Tomb Raider below it. That was a long-winded answer.
Yeah. I think you're about right. Though in total, I like the Mummies movies better than the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I think the pirate movies are overly bloated.
Oh, I'm with you. And I think, you know what's weird about me with the Pirates movies? I love, when I'm watching the second, I can't watch the fourth, it's terrible. And the fifth one, I don't think when I think about them later, I like them more. But then when I'm watching them, like, this is a lot. This is a lot of movie. Like, this is, yeah. Does that make sense?
I'm here for action, and there's a lot of everything else.
I mean, I love the production design, though. I love spending time with peak Johnny Depp before he, kind of pulled a Chevy Chase and became too Johnny Deppy, or too Chevy Chasey. If you know what I mean about Chevy Chase, he had those hit movies and then every other movie.
I do.
So I could watch. All right, if someone sat me down and said which three could you watch the most, it would be The Mummy. But I got to go with Curse of the Black Pearl because, man, I was obsessed with that movie. I love that movie. I love The Mummy, but I don't know. All right, of the 3 Mummy movies, and let's just count the core trilogy of Pirates.
Yeah.
Now, Pirates 4 is the worst of all. So there's 8 of these movies. I would say Pirates 4 is the worst. But of the core trilogy, Tomb of the Dragon Empire is probably the least good. Or do you not agree with that?
No, I completely agree. I think in the Mummy trilogy, it literally goes Mummy, Mummy Returns, Dragon Empire. It's just like it's diminishing returns each time.
Yeah.
And the first two, the Mummy and the Mummy Returns, are actually pretty high. I think they're good movies. And then the Dragon Emperor one is middling.
Yeah. I mean, there's Yetis in it, though, so that can't be all bad. I do love me some Yetis.
With the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I really like the first one, and I like bits and pieces of the second and third one.
There's stuff there to love.
Oh, there is, but it's just so it's so twisty. You're like, who's on whose side, who's doing what, and I remember reading a review, and I'm sure it was a Robert Ebert review at the time, and he was just like, you know who the good guys are, you know who the bad guys are, so it does all these twists and turns, you know where it's going to end at the end, so just sit back and relax.
Oh, that's
and I
interesting.
can't do that though. I was like, I can't. Like I know I should know that all these guys are going to come out on either A or side B, but I couldn't.
What I like about the Pirates movies is the second one, I think, was a departure from the first one. It had some of the beats, but it went epic. And the second Mummy, The Mummy Returns, it has the Dwayne Johnson CGI, which is really bad. But it doesn't feel like as much of a swing as the second Pirates.
No,
so I kind of got to give it to the Pirates trilogy. And I like 5 because they're zombie sharks. Those are so cool. It's just... Yeah, it swung. Gore Verbinski walked up to the plate with a tree, not a baseball bat, and just, swung as hard as he could. And I think Johnny Depp jumping into the Kraken, a couple of the sword fights, it was an epic scale, but it was bloated. Yeah. It was that's what happens. Pirates was such a massive success. Disney just opened up their bank account. And I think that might have hurt the Pirates movies a little too much because they had so much money. And The Mummy, if you account for inflation, not account, but when their budget was $70 million when they made this film. That's what Sommers said. That's not much in '99. Deep Rising cost more than that, I believe. So they did a lot with little in Mummy, and they made it seem epic in scope.
Yeah. I guess you're thinking about it. They're like, oh, we got to revive at this point, 40 or 50-year-old franchise for Universal. So we're not going to put too much money into it.
Yeah. And oh gosh, it works. And I like that. So Oded Fehr, he's a tall guy. He's about 6'1", but Brendan Fraser and Arnold Vosloo are 6'3", 6'5". So they had to put Oded Fehr, they had to give him a big hat, and then they had to give him big hair, and then they put him in boots to make him taller, to seem like he's Brendan Fraser's height. I thought that was pretty funny.
I didn't realize he was that big. I knew he was big, but that's larger than I thought.
Every single commentary, like they were just talking, Stephen Sommers and the editor were just like, he's a big guy. And then during the commentary with Oded Fehr and all them, and Kevin J. O'Connor, Benny's my hero. He's the MVP of this film. We gotta get to Benny.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they just kept saying, he is so strong. So he must have been a monster on set. Because I don't think you just say those things. I guess when he was throwing Kevin O'Connor around Benny, he bruised his whole body up.
Yeah.
And he had padding. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, sure.
One of the reasons I recommended doing this film, other than I love it, is that I really like Brendan Fraser as an actor, and I like his portrayals, even though some of his movies aren't that great. But he always feels like he's a good guy who gives it his all. So like I was thinking about like what are some of the movies that he's been in, and I forgot some of these, but I wanna know if you've heard some of these. So you've clearly heard of Encino Man, right?
Yep, we've covered that on the pod.
Have you heard of School?
You know, there's an Encino Man reunion in this movie.
What? No, I didn't know that.
So Eric Avari? Yeah, he's one of the Weisz the Juice guys from Encino Man, Terrence Bay, the guy that Rachel Weisz works for at the library. He's a Weisz the Juice guy.
That's amazing.
There's an Encino Man reunion in here. School Ties? Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, so I really started liking Brendan Fraser clearly on Encino Man, but I saw School Ties and I was like, oh, he's actually a good actor.
No. Like George of the Jungle. Those are tough roles to pull off. Mm-hmm. I think. He walks a fine line in there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what I guess I was trying to work my way into was really just talking about him as an actor and how in the mid 90s and the late 90s he was everywhere and he sort of disappeared for a while. And I'm sure we've all read the article about him that he released a couple years ago that just said basically my understanding is that he went through some depression and he's making his resurgence as a character actor at the moment. And I'm very happy to see him back in the limelight again.
That's why I watched Trust with him in it. The Danny Boyle miniseries on FX. I liked him a lot in there. He wears a cowboy hat in a lot. And you're like, I like it.
He does wear a cowboy hat. And in the most recent couple roles, he's wearing a lot of cowboy hats.
And then was he's in the show with Joshua Jackson, right? And Dominic West. What's that called? It's on Showtime.
He was in The Affair, which kickstarted his second career. Like from like what I understand, he had he got a divorce and his mother died and he had, I'll say like some assault instances towards him. He didn't do it, but something had happened to him that really messed with his psyche. And then also he was injured. He had a lot of injuries and surgeries from these movies.
Wow.
He had something done with his throat. He had several things done with his back. And here's a quote that maybe you found. He said by the time that the third Mummy movie came around that, this is direct quote, I was put together with tape and ice.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, he was in a really bad spot. And he also said, I was building an exoskeleton for myself daily.
Wow.
Yeah, so he just had a lot of stuff happen for about 10 years.
Well, when you're 6'5" and doing all those, like, that's a lot of, I'm not saying look at Dwayne Johnson. He's still doing great in his 40s. But when you're a big guy and you maybe don't take care of yourself as much as you should, and you get a knee injury, an ankle injury, a back injury, you're not going to get over that if you keep making these movies. And he hit relatively late, so he wasn't totally young during all these action films. So yeah, I could totally see all these accruing on him and building and leading to a lot of hurt.
Yeah. So because I'd always wondered what happened to him, so I was actually very happy. I remember the day the article came out, and I think it was in Vogue. I can't remember at the moment, but my younger brother actually texted it to me. He was like, go pick this article up and read it, because he knew I was such a Brendan Fraser fan. We have this internal joke between us is that, there's like spended Benjamins for spending money.
Yeah.
We used to call it spending Brendans. Because we loved him so much.
Spending Brendans.
Brendan Bucks.
Brendan Bucks. Yeah, I mean, the dude's just super likable, and Reddit wants him to come back. The internet wants him to come back, so I'm glad he's around. Just a likable presence.
Yeah. I also want to shout out a dark horse role for him that, one, I don't think I would ever want to cover on a podcast because I'm a little bit embarrassed that I like it.
Can I try to guess?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
All right, I'm going to take two guesses. So it's either Monkey Bone or Blast from the Past.
Oh, well, I like both of those, and it is one of those.
Oh, wow. All right, Monkey Bone.
I love Monkey Bone. I love it.
Henry Selick directed that, the guy who helped with Nightmare Before Christmas, and he went over to Leica.
Absolutely. It's a weird movie, and it was coming out of that period of time in which Hollywood was creating movies associated with cartoons from the past, trying to capitalize off of I don't even know what to call it. Like, I don't want to say it's the success of Roger Rabbit, but there was this like weird couple movies that came out that were all about cartoons. You know, Cool World was in those.
Yeah.
But I like that movie, and I recognize it's not perfect, but it's so strange, and I'm really attracted to films that are unique, and I find it such a unique concept that I loved it. And for a while, I was watching it like once a month.
I think it's a really interesting movie to look at visually.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it's not a pretty movie to look at. It's kind of I'm not gonna say it's very pretty in its not prettiness, if that makes sense. It's not bright.
It's stylized, but not necessarily gorgeous.
And what about this? What do you think about this with Brendan Fraser, where Blast from the Past, George of the Jungle, Airheads, Encino Man, The Mummy, Mummy Returns, that Monkey Bone, a lot of his films are not critically beloved, and a lot of them really haven't done too well. So I think fans have rallied around him a little bit. He's an underdog. He's clearly not an underdog because he has been in blockbusters. But since they're not universally beloved, fans rally around him as an underdog. Does that make sense? He's not a Tom Cruise. He's not a Jason Statham. He's more of a... Like, you get what I'm saying? They kind of rally around him. Yeah.
My thinking behind this, because I was trying to figure this out too, is that today's cultural speakers, such an ineloquent way of speaking, but people who are controlling media narratives, talking about media, grew up with family-friendly movies that starred Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
He's a nostalgic, positive feeling towards our youth. And we want to see him do well because of that. Because all the movies he's been in, they're all relatively, like, you could have seen those with your kids and your family in 92 to 99.
I guess look at me, right? I do my best to get Deep Blue Sea out there, and that's the same year this was made. So I'm just like one of those crew who promotes those movies that they grew up with now that we have a voice. And a lot of people love Brendan Fraser. You want to hear something interesting?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something really?
I do.
I'm going off a little bit, but the production designer, you're going to love this. Production designer, Alan Cameron, he did Hollow Man, which is the last movie you and I talked about. Now,
so it's so much easier to talk about than Hollow Man.
And he's also done Van Helsing, which I just did a Final Fight episode for. And then the cinematographer did Willow, which you and I talked about, Judge Dredd, which we've covered on the pod, Event Horizon that we've covered on the pod, and Reign of Fire. So for some reason or another, we're talking about movies that have been covered a lot on the podcast. So it's a weird theme going on here.
Yeah.
These production designers and cinematographers have worked on a lot of movies we love.
There's like two things I would want to mention there. One, you and I have scheduled to talk about Van Helsing.
Yep. Oh, man.
and I know. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll do it. And two, when you're good, you're good.
Yeah. You kind of roll with those crew. These guys work with Verhoeven, they work with Sommers, and they made some big films. So they put stuff together. And I got to tell you, the sets in this movie, I love. I mean, so they were in Marrakesh when they filmed this. But I felt a sense of scale and authenticity to everything. I thought they really did. Oh, you know what I liked about what Stephen Sommers said? I thought that was pretty interesting in his commentary. He's like, I love shooting in the desert because normally your crew just want to get home. They want to go with their family. They want to go there. They want to go here. They want to get home. They have their dogs. He's like, but if you're shooting in the desert, you're there. You're not going anywhere. So no one's trying to get home because you can't. So everyone's just working. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's
funny. It's like, I want my crew to work constantly.
Yeah, he said that. I just thought that was pretty funny there. And he also said that they left a lot of stuff on the editing floor, and there's a lot of, we'll call them quote-unquote plot holes in this film. but they cut a lot. But he said some of the funniest moments in this movie were cut out because they didn't want it to be too humorous. They wanted to blend the horror and humor. But I think they succeeded with it because there are some good jump scares. There's gooey mummies. You have people getting their eyes ripped out. I think there's just enough of everything here. Would you say the zombies killing people? Like, there's not. Yeah. It's a good blend.
It's a very, very good blend. It leans towards action more than horror, but that's fine. And when you were talking about plot holes, I had this thought in my head that I think we should, in some cases, rebrand the idea of a plot hole and instead call it an action accelerant. Because that's why some plot holes exist. It's like, this is boring, and if it's boring, cut it out and make the movie more fun. I
love it. We should do that. You need to write an article about that.
Let me write it down. Oh my God.
Never lose that. That's perfect. I love it.
But when we're on this topic of directors, let's talk about Stephen Sommers a little bit. You know, before researching this film, I didn't really know anything about him. But when I looked at the movies he's directed, which honestly isn't too many, I was like, oh, I've seen almost every single movie this guy has done. I think the only one I haven't seen is Deep Rising.
I mean, Jungle Book was a lot of fun back in the 90s. I really dug that with Jason Scott Lee and the big snake. That big snake scared the crap out of me. I dug the Deep Rising is a tough one for me because it's about a bunch of dirtbags going onto a boat that's been taken over by a prehistoric monster. And the monster's arms can stretch for about a quarter mile. So how strong are those? But it's just the problem with Deep Rising is there's no one likable. It's oppressively unlikable. Does that make sense? So there's no one to really cheer for. And in the end, you know, I hate these. There's a jet ski action scene. I can't stand jet ski action scenes. So that kind of fell apart for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have no one that's likable in your monster movie, you have to make the monster reasonable. So, like, they have to be, like, avenging a curse or something. So you root for the monster.
G.I. Joe, well, that movie made me money, though, so I can't complain about it. Because I wrote an article about people who spend way too much money on secret layers. And they built a city-sized base under a glacier in the Arctic. And then all they had to do was blow up the ice above them to destroy the whole thing. So totally unnecessary. Like, how do you keep that a secret? You can't keep that a secret. There's no way. So yeah. But that one's just big and bombastic, and what France gets decimated. It's But I remember liking it and watching it because I knew it was loud and dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, and Brendan Fraser made an appearance as Sergeant Stone.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah.
And then, have you watched Odd Thomas?
I have. I like that film. I think I'm disappointed that it didn't get a bigger release, and that's hard. It was like hard to find for years, but it's pretty good. I actually own one of the books. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, I think Anton Yelchin and the supporting actress in it, they just had really great chemistry, and I liked the way the dialogue zipped. I dug Odd Thomas a lot. I like it a lot. It was good.
Yeah. We're bouncing around a little bit, but I wanted to quickly mention the sequel to G.I. Joe.
Wait, we should say we're not bouncing around because we always bounce around on the MFF podcast, right?
We are living up to our brand.
There it is.
Yeah. But the sequel to G.I. Joe, I'm gonna say I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. I've recorded a G.I. Joe podcast. I collect G.I. Joe figures. I am a huge G.I. Joe fan. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. And I like the second one more.
Oh.
And I will see the Snake Eye movie that comes out this year. But in the second one, there is this scene that I think about in action movies when I'm watching action movies all the time when they're ziplining between mountains with a unconscious person.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that scene because it's like, I've never seen this before. This is so amazing.
Is that when Snake Eye's mountain fighting?
Yeah, I love that scene. It's so ridiculous.
I mean, you got Ray Park in there. You have, a bunch of, Ray Park. You have Byung-Hyun Lee. You want to hear something pretentious?
Yes.
I was working on this movie called Jay Mansfield's Car, and I was Ray Stevenson's stand-in on that film. And when he got cast in G.I. Joe, he and I were in a car together driving the set, and I was like, yeah, man, I heard you got cast in G.I. Joe. And so he told me about the role. So I knew about Ray Stevenson being in that picture. But then it got delayed a couple of years because all the reshoots and Channing Tatum, and I don't know. That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it also has Walton Goggins.
Oh, I love Walton Goggins.
Ripping people up.
Yeah. Do you generally like Stephen Sommers? Or actually, one, I don't have to pronounce his last name. I guess it's Sommers.
Yeah.
films.
Yeah, because they know what they are. They,
Mm-hmm.
you could sit there. All right, Van Helsing's a little bit of a fever dream, but it's so loud and so earnest. I can't dislike it. I can't. I don't know. I like his films because I think they know what they are, and so I could be pretentious and say I don't like them, but I could also just be like, man, they just destroyed the shit out of France. No, England. They destroyed England, right? They blew the living hell out of it. Like everything's melting because of green particles. And then you have an underwater submarine fight? Give me that. I'll take a submarine fight any day of the week. Like, where are you building these submarines? Let's watch more of that. I mean, it's just, yeah, I dig that. I like it. And I like the cast. I don't know, man. I like Marlon Wayans as action hero. I thought that was cool. No. What do you like his films?
And I think generally I like them, though I think the Mummy stuff is really the high point.
Oh, yeah, definitely the best.
Yeah, and I do remember watching The Adventures of Huck Finn when I was very young and pretending to be sick. I stayed home from school on a Wednesday. Oh, Mom, I'm sick. Can we rent a movie?
Some Jonathan Taylor Thomas, right?
Yeah,
Brad Renfro.
exactly. Yep.
So how about this? Do you have another thought there real quick?
No, I was just gonna say let's talk a little bit about some of the scenes, our favorite scenes in the film.
Let's do something. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll actually talk about the film. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, we'll be right back. Hey, Mark here. I just have a fun announcement for you. So we recently started doing these Final Fight episodes, and we've been putting them up with the regular movie, films, and flicks episodes. However, the Final Fight episodes people really loved, so we figured that we would start a brand new podcast just called Final Fights, brought to you by Movies, Films, and Flicks, where it's nothing but final fights in movies, where we discuss every punch, bite, kick, head kick, gut punch, everything you can think about. We do a lot of research, and they're short episodes. They're probably about 20 to 30 minutes. They're really quick to listen to, and they just talk about all your favorite final fights. So head to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and rate, review, and subscribe, and listen to Final Fights. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thank you. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And David, we need to talk Benny. Benny is...
Yeah.
So I love that Arnold Vosloo and Oded Fehr were brought back for The Mummy Returns. But Benny, he is the best. I love this character of Benny. Now, I want to talk about one scene in particular. So in the beginning, we meet Benny. He's with Brendan Fraser. They're being attacked, and Benny ducks out on him. And then Benny locks him out of a tomb, I guess. And Benny lives. The only two people who live from this attack are Benny and Brendan Fraser. Now, we meet them later. They're both going to Amunaptra. Benny's taking a bunch of Americans, and Brendan Fraser is taking Evelyn and Jonathan, her brother. And I love when they get back together, and Brendan Fraser's like, "Hey, Benny, little weasel." And he's like, I'm gonna crush you. And then Benny's like, what about my kids? I don't have kids. He's like, well, maybe one day I will. That was ad-libbed. That was made up.
That's amazing.
Isn't that?
It's so good.
I love that, but one day I will. Now, my favorite, though, line in this movie is when, after the sand pyramid, they're kind of spit out on the ground, Benny is talking to Imhotep. And after the big sandstorm, all that knocks down the airplane, good visual gag. But I loved it when Benny said, I love the whole sand wall trick. Beautiful, bastard. That makes you like him, right? Because he doesn't like him, the mummy. He wants to survive.
Yeah, and he's incredibly consistent throughout the entire film. Well, he's just like, I want to survive, and I want some money.
But the one thing I maybe didn't like is when they go back for Mr. I have his name here. When they go back for Mr. Let's see, I have his name.
The Egyptian
Burns,
Scientologist?
Mr. Burns. When his tongue and eyes are already gone. The mummy already has his tongue and eyes.
Yeah.
When they go back for him, Benny is mean. He's very mean. He's going to take your eyes, your mouth. He's going to finish the job. Like, he was almost relishing the death of this man. And he's very cruel. That didn't seem very Benny-esque to me. I don't know. Did you feel like that one moment was a little out of character?
It was, yeah. I mean, the way that I squared that circle in my head was that he was performing for Imhotep.
Yeah, I guess the problem is Imhotep had no idea what he was saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I got the feeling that I wanted Benny to survive because he he is carrying this film in a lot of ways. He's funny.
He's whapping Rick with when they're racing the thing, he's just hitting Rick with his
yeah, everything about him is just so good. My favorite scene with him is when he first meets Imhotep and he has the necklaces of all of the different religions and he's trying to ward off the mummy.
What a brilliant scene.
Whoever came up with that, I was like, you are so smart.
They had the props there, and then he just pulled it off. And so all three commentaries, Brendan Fraser was just laughing and talking about how great Kevin J. O'Connor is. In the commentary, because Kevin's been in 3 Stephen Sommers films, Van Helsing, Deep Rising, and this. They were talking about how great he is. And then he was in a commentary with Oded Fehr and Arnold Vosloo, and they were talking about how great he is in that scene. I mean, he pulls it off with the different religions and all that. I don't know, he gets thrown off the boat. He ends up surviving. And then when he dies, I hate it. I want him back. We never see him die, right? So maybe he's out there.
Yeah, or maybe he becomes a mummy.
Ooh.
That's the fourth film. Benny comes back as the mummy.
Now, I have a question. If he's such a survivor, do you think that he would go back that many times for gold?
I questioned that the first time I saw the film. But what I think is happening in this, so one, yes, because I think what they're trying to say in this film that if you are greedy, you're going to get killed. Because if you think of the characters, a lot of them weren't there for gold. They were there for knowledge, other than Jonathan.
Oh.
Because Rick, they mentioned that while he was with the Legionnaire, he didn't want to go there and he didn't believe in the going there. The Americans all just wanted treasure and gold. Benny just wanted treasure and gold. Wow, so they're just sort of making the argument. If you're greedy, you're going to get killed.
Yeah, all those guys did get killed.
Yeah, eat the rich.
But just slapping them. So when I love that scene when their boat catches on fire and Hook dies, which makes me bummed. And Benny yells at O'Connell, "Hey, O'Connell, we got all the horses." And O'Connell's like, "Hey, Benny, you're on the other side of the river." Stephen Sommers told them to act like 12-year-old kids screaming at each other. And so that's what their direction was.
That's what it sounded like. That's a really good way of putting it.
He's just such a survivor,
do you think they were actually friends?
Yes. I think O'Connell was a rogue. He was for the money. He's very pessimistic. He sneaks that cheeky kiss on Rachel Weisz, and then she calls him out for it later on. I love that scene. She's so good in this movie.
If that scene didn't exist, it would have been really not have aged well. But the whole line of, well, I was about to be hanged, so it seemed like a good idea. It makes sense. Yeah,
and then she makes fun of him. She's like, if you call that a kiss. So, I mean, they're a little repartee. And it was also very, maybe 30s, 40s screwball comedy type stuff. I guess we're going back to Benny here. My bad. They do. I think he likes him. I think he's a bit of a rogue. I think he respects Benny because, like you said, for me, if I know somebody and I know how they're going to behave and I know they're just going to act like a little shit, I get it. I get them. That doesn't mean I want to hang out with them all the time, but I know that they're that. So you almost appreciate knowing them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So I have a friend that I went to school with, and I saw him again in grad school. And this is when Megan, my wife, and I were dating, and we took some friends out. And we were hanging out with my friend from school. And what he does is you always have to buy him drinks. I don't know how it happens. This guy, you always have to buy him drinks. He's a lawyer, by the way, but for some reason you're always buying him drinks. And he somehow convinced this kid who had just moved to Tallahassee to go hang out with him. And I looked at Megan, and I went, this guy's going to get his car towed tonight. And turns out that guy went out with Nathan, he got his car towed. But I almost respect Nathan because I know, I almost respect my buddy because I just know if you go out with him, you're going to get your car towed. So he's like a Benny. You appreciate it because you just know. And I called it. That night. But yeah, it's just kind of, who Benny is, so you like him because he's not trying to be anything else.
Yeah. I think this is a great segue into talking about the 5 things that we liked the best of this movie. You think you can manage 5 things? I
mean, I 48 things.
I know. Could you break it down to 5? Just the top 5.
Top 5 things about this film that we dig.
Yeah, and that could be characters, however you want to interpret it. Yeah. I can go first. I have mine 5 written out.
Yeah. So let's hear it.
Okay. So number 5 for me is when Benny tries to scare away Imhotep with the various words and symbols.
Oh, that's so good.
I laughed so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 4 is just the character of Emotep. And I love him so much because he's complex. He's this guy who really loves this woman, and what he did is in some way justifiable. It's like he killed the emperor, the pharaoh, who was keeping a woman against his will.
Yeah.
Or her will. Yeah. So like he's a complex character. I really like him, and I thought they played the actor played him very well. I love the beginning scene. This is number 3. The beginning scene with Rick, who just has a billion guns, and he just keeps pulling them out of everywhere, and he's still in way over his head. And this is a theme that the next one is number 2 is a theme that goes throughout this whole film is just screaming.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, including cats, are screaming at each other, and it's a motif that I find hilarious because they just keep making callbacks.
And it comes back to haunt Rick when he screams at the soldier mummies.
Yeah, the tomb guards. And then I think number 1 for me is Evie's library disaster.
Oh my gosh, it's a disaster.
I laughed so hard when I first saw it. Oh yeah, and one of the few things I read about this film was that they did that in 1 take because if they had to do it in 2, it would have taken them a whole nother day.
Yeah, Stephen Sommers like that. He broke down the cost of how much it would have done if they had to do a second take, and they nailed it. But if you look really closer in that thing, you can see a male stuntman on the ladder with a wig.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty funny that they pointed that out. All right, so I had a little bit of time here. One of my random parts in this movie is when Ardith and O'Connell are pulling the rocks out of the way, and Jonathan's like, put your back into it, hurry up, come on. And then they both just stop and look at him. And then that's what I like about this movie is that it's silly. There's a scene in this film where they're just moving rocks and a guy's telling them to hurry and they turn around and look at him. I like that. I also really love the sound design when they first get to the Hamunaptra and the Americans and Evie's team, they surprise each other and they all pull their guns on each other. And then they put their guns on, then they pull their guns again, and then they pull their guns again. If you listen to the sound design, it's synced perfectly. And so the editor and director are really pleased with that as well. I love that scene. I love when he tells the warden who comes with it, because Evie saves O'Connell's life. I guess we should say this. They get him out of prison. But I love when he's like, 100 pounds. He's like, I'd pay 100 pounds to watch him die. But I like the scene where Rick stops and the warden's like, what should we do when the boat's on fire? And Rick says, stay here, wait for help. And the guy just kind of stands around bouncing. And he's like, oh, crap, he fooled me. Then he jumps into the water. That's hilarious. And also, I want to tell a funny story. When he gets the scarab in him and has that great gag where he runs into the wall, when he's tearing his clothes off, for some reason the costume designer didn't give him underwear. So when he was ripping his clothes off with the scarab in him, I guess his unit flopped out. And so they were filming it and he didn't realize it. And then they did it again. The same thing happened. So everyone, all 3 commentaries, they were joking around about that. I thought that was pretty funny. I gotta say, it's gotta be Benny. I'm copying you, but I love when he pulls out the religious symbols. Because that's just, they made those. That's a written gag. And I love that. I mean, they do say the word flim-flam in this movie. I dig that. And then, oh man, there's a good reference to Glenlivet 12 in here. That made me happy. And all right. I love the chase. There's a scene where there's about 80 people on the car. And they filmed on the streets of Marrakesh over several days. And they left a light in the scene. Like, who cares? They mentioned that. You can see one of the production lights. But they said that on the first floor, it's all extras. But on the top floors, the people living in there just looking down and watching the that was a big, I love that scene. There's just so many people on that car, and it's just a raucous, fun fight. And I really dig that. Now, I have a couple of things for you.
Okay.
Robert Lamb asked this question. I asked for questions, and Robert Lamb asked, normally the mummy, when they took that guy's eyes, that guy had bad eyesight. So people asked, should the mummy have bad eyesight? Because the first eyes he took were bad. And the answer was yes. In the script, and in some of the things they filmed, the mummy had blurry vision. That's why he thought Rachel Weisz was a Noxunamun.
Oh my god, that makes things make so much more sense.
But they cut it because, like, you just gotta explain that to audiences. And like you said, it's not a plot hole. What's your action accelerator? It's an action accelerator because it's like, oh, the mummy has bad eyesight. Now then you have to show the mummy with bad eyesight. It almost makes it less frightening. It makes the mummy seem more like a dum-dum. I guess just, if your mummy has blurry vision, It's not scary. So, it maybe evens the odds, but that's why they did it. They originally had that in the script. They filmed some scenes, but then they cut it out because they're like, yeah, this isn't needed. We don't need it. So I thought that was interesting. And I love the pilot, but there's a convenient pilot who just wants to die, and then he dies. I wish the pilot would have lived and just been like, oh, crap. Like, the guy just won't die. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's just old and can't die. Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's a funny gag.
And then as opposed to just being sucked into quicksand for some reason. Like,
well, that makes sense. That because at the beginning he says all the people that he flew with are dead and buried in the sand. So he was being buried in the sand.
In a random quicksand spot?
Yeah, well, someone mentioned this to me this week, and this person was like, when I was younger, I thought quicksand would be a lot more prevalent than it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's so, like, Never-Ending Story. Oh my gosh, so many different movies. I have tons of other stories. Like, I thought it was pretty, like, another random thing is Oded Fehr's, like, he had to shave his entire body the entire time, so I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I really recommend listening to, if you own it, eventually, if you're listening to this, or David, listen to the director commentary and listen to Oded Fehr commentary, because they really do a really fun job breaking down this film. But yeah, I think those are my top five moments, and I talked about more, but I just dig this movie.
Yeah, I think honorable mention for both of us, and stop me if I'm speaking for you, is the gold paint.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just, now and like I said, Oded Fehr had a great point. He's like, 14-year-old boys love that scene. So
yeah,
we can say that and not be creepy. Like, well, I don't think we're going at it from that angle, but
No. Like, well, also, I'm saying gold paint because I also think the priests looked awesome in the gold paint.
Oh yeah, I mean, that looked cool. I like the design. I mean, all right, I would love to do an analysis of surprise hit films and trailer moments that maybe got people into the theater. Does that make sense?
I could do one right now.
What?
Varsity Blues, when the main female character goes, sex and football, that's all anyone cares about this town. Here's the thing, though, that never appeared in the movie. I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, this movie had, if you're talking about trailers, dude, this movie had that massive sandstorm. It had the gold paint. It had the creatures yelling at Brendan Fraser. It just had, this, Sommers made a smart film. I think they did a really good job editing it. I don't think they lost too much. Oh, also, the bodies in this film of humans are different from, this isn't our world that this movie took place in. This is a alternate timeline, because that scarab gets into Jonathan and goes all the way up his body. They cut it out, rip it out of him, and there's no internal bleeding or skin stretching or nerve damage in his entire arm.
That's very good. That's a very true point.
That's one scene I don't like. Now, obviously, you can't just have an entire bandaged man in a hospital worrying about nerves in his arm. But it must be a different world where bodies work differently than ours.
So I have a couple, just a very few research things that I found that maybe you know about.
Okay.
But the first one is that Brendan Fraser during the hanging scene got knocked out in reality. Like he was actually choked until he passed out.
Yeah, he had to be resuscitated.
Yeah, and I thought that was crazy, and that sort of highlights the stuff that he was willing to do in these types of movies. And then the other one was Rachel Weisz having to have her night outfit painted over to keep this a PG-13 movie, because if you got wet, it became transparent.
Yeah, they said that in the commentary. Like, she was just standing around in this completely see-through thing, and they had to paint it all out. Yeah.
We haven't talked much about Rachel. I really dig her.
She's so good.
She's done some great stuff.
She's one of my favorites, man. She's one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah, Constantine.
You know what? Let's do it right now. Let's do a Rachel Weisz draft.
Okay.
Because, man, the favorite that she's in, oh, she is amazing. Mm-hmm. All right, so pick pick one or two.
One.
All right, it's two. So I gotta pick a movie. First. Oh my gosh, I never get picked first. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna say, you know what? Oh man, she's in that movie too. Eee. All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say The Mummy because I love her in this movie.
Oh, that's great. That is a great one. I'm going to go with Constantine. I think it's underrated, and I really like that film.
I think you won with that pick. I'm gonna go with the Lobster because she is amazing and I don't care if I'm using a lot of hyperbole. She is so good in the Lobster, so I'm doing that. The Lobster.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go with Enemy at the Gates. I also really like that film, and I think it's another one that's underrated.
You know, I read the book, and it's a pretty cool story about all those snipers. There's a lot more in the book, but I dig the stories about that. Just wanted you to know. All right, that's all I got on that. Oh man. You know what? I'm going to say About a Boy. It's a small role, but I love this scene with her because there's a scene where he's talking to her at a party. Hugh Grant's talking to Rachel Weisz at a party, and he just realizes, I am out of this woman's league. I don't know if you remember that scene, but it really hit me. Like when I saw it, just his self-realization that, yeah, I got nothing here. This she's too good. So I dug that. All right, what's your third pick?
Mine is The Favorite.
Oh man, you know what? She should have gotten the Oscar for that. I'm saying it now.
Yeah, I like that film. I do not love it, but what I do like about it particularly is the cinematography. I think the cinematography and the acting are very strong in that film.
She's a gangster in that movie. Also, if you're interested, if you look up BAFTAs every year, they do an hour-long interview with all the people who are nominated for BAFTAs for production design. And in that talk, the production designers of The Favorite talk about the costuming and the house and everything they bought for the film. So if you dig production design, I totally recommend you listen to that BAFTA. It's all the production designers together, but it's really cool how they made that movie. Just got to recommend that. All right, let's see.
Number 4.
She's so good. All right. Oh, she's gonna be in Black Widow. That makes me so happy. Get her in those Marvel movies.
We could preemptively pick that.
I'm gonna say The Fountain because I'm not a crier. I've very rarely cried, and it's not like a macho thing. I'm not like a crier. I've tried to. I've wanted to cry before. Come on, man, just cry. But The Fountain, I was watching The Fountain and a single tear dropped from my eye, and I just went, did I cry? And I was really happy about it watching The Fountain, and she was in it. So I'm giving The Fountain my fourth pick.
Okay. I am going to pick Fred Claus to show her range.
Oh, no. I think you just gave me the competition. I love it. How'd she end up in that movie?
I don't know. I mean, remember that Vince Vaughn was huge. I mean, he's still popular, but there was a period where he was putting anything and everything on the screen.
And she was in Chain Reaction, too. Well, his movies were making money.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen The Shape of Things with her in it?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, she is so good. She's mean in it. It's with Paul Rudd and Neil LaBute did it based on one of his plays. Oh man, she rips that poor guy apart. Now she won her Oscar for The Constant Gardener, which is cool. She's in The Brothers Bloom, which was a lot of fun. She's in The Deep Blue Sea. You know what? That's a good movie. That's a really underrated picture right there. And it goes with Terrence Davies directed it. So I'm gonna say The Deep Blue Sea, not Deep Blue Sea.
Okay, that's good. And I am gonna pick the also strange one, The Brothers Bloom.
Oh, that's so good.
It's weird, but I dig it.
Hey, Rian Johnson.
Yeah,
Oscar nominated Rian Johnson. I think we actually picked decent squads here. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, Fred Claus could be bad for me, but we'll see what happens. I also think people don't remember Enemy at the Gate. If more people saw that, they would like it. So
you want to get into our Stan Squad?
I have a couple things I want to talk about first.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, well, usually we're not this long, but there's so much to talk about for this. So the first thing I would say is Imhotep isn't a mummy. He's not mummified in the movie.
Yeah, he's kind of juicy.
Yeah, so it's called The Mummy. What is that title referring to? Who is the mummy?
Now, there are a lot of mummies in it. So he wasn't mummified, but he was mummified light. So is Diet Cola still a cola?
It is still a cola. I mean, my thinking behind this, it's soda or pop. Yeah. So I'm from Midwest. We call it pop, but I lived in Florida, so I started calling it soda. And now I don't know what I call
soda
it.
Pop.
Give me some of that fizz. I like to think in my headcanon that this movie refers to Anuk-Samon as the mummy.
Because she was mummified.
She was mummified. And so it's in my head, really a love story.
Oh, it is. And it's really sad in Mummy Returns when she runs away from him and he sees that Evelyn saves Rick, because I think he realizes that, if you think about it, Imhotep and Anck-su-namun Moon were never really able to have a relationship. They were never able to be alone. I think there was an infatuation between them, a love, but they didn't know each other. They weren't ride or die like Rick or Evelyn. So at the end, when Evelyn saves Rick, despite him saying not to, and she runs away, he kind of gets it. And then he dies. It's a tragic ending.
It is. It is very much a tragic ending. So the next thing I wanted to ask is, what was Rick actually in prison for?
He was a very bad boy.
Yeah, that's all they said. Who knows? Who knows?
He stole something or beat up somebody.
Yeah, that had to have been it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I just thought that was a great line.
Yeah, he's a very bad boy.
And then I guess my final one is, are mummies zombies?
Are mummies zombies? Yes. I guess anything well, no, because they have thought processes.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you are with a very stubborn human being and they just want to be a jerk for the night and just be like, yeah, they're zombies. Not a jerk, but bullheaded. You couldn't say no because technically they're coming back from the dead. However, this mummy comes back with full mental processes. Like, it knows who it is. So
yeah,
that's not a definition of a zombie per se. That's more of like a...
I do. I agree with you. And I think so another key difference is that mummies aren't infectious. If a mummy bites you, you aren't going to turn into a mummy.
Yeah, you're right. If a mummy bites you, it's just going to hurt.
Yeah, so I say no. I think mummies are not infectious. They're more intelligent. They're less aggressive than zombies. And then a mummy is also a process that has to happen to your body. And with zombies, it's just like you're bit and then you're a ghoul or a zombie.
I like that. Yeah, I don't think that's a good point. No, I think a mummy is just a mummy. Is that like a subgenre of a zombie?
Yeah, I guess it's a ghoul or a lich, maybe.
The dead don't die, ghoul.
Yeah, and then I said the last one was my final one, but I lied. My final one was Ebert liked this movie. Roger Ebert really liked this film, but he said that Anaconda is better. Agree or disagree?
Disagree times 8,000.
I know. I was reading this. I was like, what? Roger Ebert, what's wrong with you?
Now, Anaconda is a totally different film. It's a nastier film. They're not the same film, but I guess they're both kind of creature features. No, Mummy's better. Mummy is a better movie. I think Jon Voight gives the most interesting performance, but The Mummy is a better movie.
All right, that is what I have. I'm ready to move into our movies about sand.
I have about 700 hours left of this stuff to talk about, but I don't need to do it. There's so much mummy detail. I love this movie. David, can I go first on this?
Absolutely.
So what we're doing is, this is just, all right, every episode that we do, you and I do, we do a team. We put together teams, and then we narrow it down into, like, from 10 down to 5. This one is movies that feature people near sand for a decent amount of time. Correct?
Yes.
Sand crew. So it could be sand anywhere in the world. Just sand somewhere. So
is this the movie or the character?
Character. Did you pick movies?
I did, but I know all of the characters, so I can make it work.
Okay. Do you want to do movies? I could do movies.
No, let's do characters. Right. I think that's more fun.
Now, all right. So this one's a team, and it's cheating, but they're a team unit. Bones, Jones, Jack, and Fred from In the Army Now.
Accepted.
They go overseas to purify water, and they end up blowing up some stuff. And they're by a lot of sand and scorpions, and it gets very sandy.
Okay.
So, In the Army Now.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick, I believe is it Furia or Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road.
And that was one of my picks too.
And this is a controversial statement. I think that is the movie of the aughts. That's my number one of the decade between 99 and, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, AV Club agrees with you, and I like AV Club.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel in good company.
that was their number one movie. It's an excellent film. I think if I went with I would go. I would go with personal favorites, but as far as films, yeah. I mean, Mad Max is consensus. So good. And Furiosa is badass.
I put out a Instagram post today. And so just for your audience now, I have this Instagram page and I post sometimes weird reviews I find on the internet of good movies or bad movies. And the review that I found that I put out today was of Mad Max Fury Road. And this person gave him a 1-star review. And basically they were like, they lost me at the guitar flamethrower.
Oh,
that's all it said. That's all it said.
They had me at that.
I know.
That actually worked. So amazing. Oh my gosh. All right. You ready for a weird number 2?
I am.
So the Sarlacc that's inside the Great Pit of Carkoon in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, it's huge. It gets fed things. It digests things over thousands of years. What's it doing there in the middle of the desert? How does it eat? Why is it stuck there? A lot of questions. And it's by a lot of sand. And it's just sitting in a pit being fed by Jabba. So Sarlacc pit.
That's good. That's good. My number 2, left field, Benny from The Sandlot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brother.
He's so good.
And he makes it to the big leagues.
He does. That's why I picked him.
You're killing me, Smalls. I love Benny. I like that one a lot. That's funny. Benny's the best. All right, mine is El Guapo from Three Amigos.
Oh, that's so good.
A lot of
that's
sand.
Real
good. A lot of sand, a lot of dirt, a lot of desert. But he gets a sweater. He talks about a plethora. I like him, so I picked El Guapo and he just makes me happy.
All right, let's see here. I think I'm gonna go with Aquaman. He's not gonna help our crew much, but Aquaman owes so much to the Mummy that I'm gonna put him in there.
Oh, I love it. That's funny. We have a podcast about the Aquaman coming out soon, or Aquaman.
Oh, awesome!
All right, so Aquaman. I'm gonna do Bart from Blazing Saddles.
Really, another really good one. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I love that movie. We're gonna need a shitload of dimes. Oh man, it's a funny character. I love Blazing Saddles, so I'm doing that.
I put this on here, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if there's actually desert, but I'm gonna say Tank Girl.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Tank Girl.
That was me trying to remember. I was like, I think there's desert in this movie.
Oh, there's tons. It's like a wasteland, post-apocalyptic wasteland. That's perfect. All right. I'm gonna go with the Spirit of the West. That's Timothy Olyphant from Rango.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I just love Timothy Olyphant, so I had to include him.
Okay. So my 4th pick, I'm gonna want some help on. I want to pick someone from Tremors, but which character do I pick?
Jamie Kennedy from the 4th one.
Jamie Kennedy's in the 4th one? I've never seen the 4th one.
4th and 5th. No, 5th and 6th. He's in 2 of them.
You don't pick Bert?
I mean, I'll let you have Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon as a team.
Okay, let's do Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon then. I think that's the classic of it.
Oh yeah, they're the best. Hank and Earl?
Yes.
All right, Hank and Earl from Tremors. I love that. Is that our 10?
That's my number 5.
Okay, so I think we've done 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. All right, so who are the keepers?
Okay. The only one that I am married to on my list is Benny.
Oh yeah, Benny's a great one. The Sand-Lot.
Yeah, I love Benny. I also love your pick of El Guapo.
Makes me so happy.
I think it's hilarious.
A sweater. It's a plethora. I mean, oh gosh, a lot of sand. Let's do Tank Girl. That's just, that's left field. That's creative.
Okay.
That's different.
Okay.
I like that a lot. That's fun. All right, who else should we include?
Let's run through your list again.
Spirit of the West, Bone Jones, Jack and Fred, Sarlacc Pit, and Bart from Blazing Saddles.
Bart. I like the idea of having everyone from In the Army Now because they can make water.
Oh yeah.
Or they're a team, so they can purify water for us.
I love it. So we have Pauly Shore and crew, El Guapo, Benny from the Sandlot, and Tank Girl.
Yes.
So what do you think? Furiosa, should we add in here?
I love Furiosa. We don't necessarily need to. Let's just throw Aquaman out. I had him in there as a gag, So we can get rid of him.
I'll take out Spirit of the West.
Okay. I really like Hank and Earl, but they're only for murdering monsters.
Yeah.
So if we're in the desert, they won't be that much of a help.
They're good handymen, though. They could fix everything. They could fix the truck if it breaks down.
That's true. But I think maybe Furiosa could as well.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The Sarlacc pit wouldn't be of much help.
Yeah. I don't know, Mark. I'm going to let you pick this one. You were gracious enough to let me add some weird ones.
All right. Let's do Bart.
All right.
Because he's great, and he's just funny. And he comes up with a plan to defeat that army. Brilliant plan. He's a tactician.
Yeah, we need tacticians.
So we have Bone Jones, Jack and Fred from In the Are Now, El Guapo from Three Amigos, Bart from Blazing Saddles, Benny from The Sandlot, and Tank Girl from Tank Girl.
What a weird list. I love it.
Yeah, it makes me so happy. Well, this was fun, man. Any final thoughts about The Mummy before we get out of here?
I hope that they one day make a Mummy 4.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Bring back Rachel?
Yeah, they were going to. They were gonna make it with Antonio Banderas.
What?
Oh yeah, that's what I read. They were gonna make a Mummy 4. It was gonna Antonio Banderas was gonna be the Mummy. It was gonna take place in South America, and it got shelved.
Oh, because the Tomb of Dragon Empire didn't do too well.
Yep.
Rachel Weisz says she was heartbroken over not being brought back in the third one, but I think she was busy.
Yeah, that's what I read too. Not that she wanted to do it and they wanted her to just timing didn't work.
Ah, it sucks. All right, well, this was fun, dude. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for David Cross, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.